We need to talk.
About what?
You play a character in this film named Jackie who, he's a villain on the front side, but he does have a level of sympathy baked into him. That's something that your writer and producer said they took away from your performance and also what they anticipated when it came to making this a more layered villain. Is that something you add in naturally to your performance, or do you go in trying to make villains like this have a little bit more complexity?
I think you want him to be real. And there are people who do despicable things, but they will always have something human about them. No one's just all one thing. So you want to make sure that you have that and that you can present it and give it to them. It's their choice whether they use it or not. But I was glad to see that they found a couple of moments just to see a slightly more connected version of him, as opposed to someone who's just, even though he's always looking for vulnerabilities to exploit, he's not just that, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very curious as to how much of that is on the page, because something that Brad said about the character is that we never know what he's fully capable of. And for the writer of this project to say that, I'm curious if he has even filled in those gaps. So do you find when you're bringing a character like Jackie to life throughout various scenes in this film, Echo Valley, that you are discovering new things of what he's capable of depending on how the scene is going?
Yeah, when I was talking with Michael, I think when we talked about his backstory, we talked about how he was with women and bringing an exploitative aspect to him from a sexual point of view, which was partly in, there was a moment of it in the script, but we wanted to fill that out in terms of our idea of who he really was, how dangerous he could actually be, how much of an exploiter he was. And so things like that you sort of fill in, and then sometimes opportunities present themselves where, because that's a part of a character and you feel it, suddenly a line can just take on a different tone. And that sort of stuff happens all the time, but I think that's just the work of being an actor. That's nothing particularly special,
You waxed poetic about getting to work with Julian Moore on this project. She said that you had such a big stage combat to you as a performer. I'd love to just know about that experience of working with her and maybe any conversations you shared when cameras weren't rolling.
Well, she's just amazing. So getting to work with her, and I got to tell her a couple nights ago, getting to work with her was quite a big deal for me, and it was wonderful that she was as amazing as I hoped she would be. And it was great because my character's trying to break her character and leave her empty, leave her with nothing. And her character's obviously trying to stand up for herself, and it made for a really cool dynamic. And she is a strong person. Her character's a strong person. And so it was, you need somebody as formidable as her to play that part, and she was just amazing in it. So I love the scenes with her.
I can't have an interview with you without asking about Time.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of my favorite films of all time. I mentioned this to you at Fountain of Youth, and I rewatched it in the time since we spoke about it at Fountain of Youth. And there's the ending message of Tim's father saying, go back and relive every single day, but do it without, noticing all the nuances or notice those nuances. Don't worry about, the hiccups you have throughout your day. And then Tim has the moment where he goes, I don't travel back in time anymore. I just live each day as if it was my last. How does that, you mentioned to me at Fountain of Youth that impacted, the film itself impacted how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know how.
I think, Richard in the making of it said it was going to be the last film he directed. Part of the reason was that he was taking time to be with his family, to be around his family more, because he had been working a lot. The film's about love and about making space for it in your life and connecting with people. And it was such a beautiful shoot. It felt so full of love. And then the film itself was also full of love, and I'm lucky with my family, very lucky with my family, very lucky with my friends. But it was a nice, timely reminder to make space for all of that. That was pretty good.
The scene with the younger version of Tim going back with his father. Obviously, you're not acting in that scene. It's a younger version.
Yes, everyone says it's their favorite scene of the film, and it is the only scene of the film that I'm not in. And I'm very resentful of that. So when I talk nice about Richard, I also absolutely hate that piece of shit.
Well, it's an extension of your character, but that scene gives me chills every time.
And that was Richard's son played the younger version of me in the film. They dyed his hair red for it, and he did a great job. Yeah.
What a beautiful note to end on, Domhnall.
Cool.
You're heartbreaking in this film. You're amazing in You're amazing in all your work. Thank you again
very
for your
much.
time.
I really appreciate that.
I know what you did. I make one call and all roads lead back to you.